Story number 1. I took the graveyard shift at Westra Corporate Tower because the pay was too good to refuse. $28 an hour just for sitting in a chair, checking security monitors, and logging patrol notes. They said the building had gone fully remote post-COVID, and the place was 90% unoccupied now. They just needed someone to show presence overnight. I started on a Monday, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The first 4 nights were fine. A few creaks. Elevators adjusting pressure. HVAC thumps. Nothing abnormal. Until Friday. At exactly 3:03 a.m., the cameras flickered. All of them. Only for a second, but long enough to freeze the screens. Every monitor showed the same image. A pitch-black hallway with a red exit sign at the far end. The system reset. Everything returned to normal. I marked it as a glitch. At 3:11 a.m., I saw something move in Cam 7B. That feed was from the 7th floor, which was marked as offline on my route sheet. All lights powered down. Offices stripped. Off limits. The hallway should have been empty, but someone walked through it. Or something. It was blurry, like interference followed it. I zoomed in. It was a tall figure, wearing a dark office suit but no face. Just smooth skin where the features should have been. The hallway lights blinked on behind it. Not all at once, but one at a time, like the power followed its steps. Then it turned and stared into the camera. Even without eyes, I knew it was looking at me. The feed cut. All the monitors went black for 10 seconds. When they came back on, Cam 7B was gone. Replaced with a red error screen. Feed not found, device removed. I grabbed my flashlight and the master badge and made my way up. The elevator refused to open on the 7th floor. When I hit the button, the panel blinked red. But when I tried again, fast, 777, it dinged and opened. The hallway was dark. Not normal dark. It was wrong. The kind of dark that eats your flashlight beam. But I stepped out. The elevator closed behind me without prompting. I was alone. The emergency lights flickered overhead, red and dying. Dust filled the air like fog. The carpet was soaked, though there'd been no leaks. It squished under my boots like flesh. I checked room 713 first. Empty. Then 711. Empty. Then 709. Inside, a projector was on, playing nothing but white noise on the wall. A voice came from the speaker. Please remain in your cubicle. Productivity is mandatory. Dreams are theft. I backed out and kept moving. I passed by a break room. Inside, I saw old coffee machines, chairs flipped upside down, and a desk phone ringing. I don't know why I answered it. The voice on the other end whispered, "If you see your reflection move first, don't blink." I dropped the phone. In the hallway, I passed a glass panel. My reflection was smiling. I wasn't. Tilted its head at me, and then started walking away on its own, toward the stairwell at the end of the hall. I ran after it. The stairwell door was open. Inside was a narrow, endless staircase spiraling downward, far beyond the 7th floor. I took one step in. A fluorescent light blinked on above, and I heard the sound of typing. Soft, frenetic, like dozens of keyboards. But the floor below was empty. No lights, no people, just cubicles and dark glass offices. I stepped down again. The typing stopped. Now I heard breathing, heavy, animalistic. Then came the scraping, like something sharp being dragged across drywall. I bolted up the stairs. The door I came through was now marked, floor 9. That wasn't possible. Then a speaker on the ceiling buzzed to life. Congratulations. You've been promoted. The higher you go, the less you leave. I turned back, trying to retrace my steps, but every door now said 9. All exits led to identical hallways. I tried calling my supervisor, no signal. My radio, static. I sat down, sweating, shaking, trying to understand. And then, I heard footsteps. Not just one set, many. Cubicles rustled. Office chairs rolled. Printers whirred to life. Then came the whispers. Dozens of them. He's not productive. He stopped working. Reassign him. Cut his face off. He doesn't need it here. I stood. My reflection stepped out from the window at the end of the hall. But it wasn't my reflection anymore. It was me without skin, wearing a name badge, eyes glowing. It walked toward me, lifting a stapler like a scalpel. So I ran. I don't remember how I got out. I woke up in the basement security room hours later. My supervisor said I was found unconscious in the loading dock. Bleeding from my nose, nails cracked, babbling about reflections and cubicles that feed on time. They fired me. I didn't argue. But I stole one thing before I left. The security log from that night contains a screenshot from Cam 7B. Just one. A grainy image of me sitting at a desk on the 7th floor, smiling wide, typing endlessly. Behind me, a dozen skinless workers, still typing. If you ever see a job listing for Westera Tower night shift, don't take it. They're still looking for bodies. Because productivity is mandatory. And once you reach the 7th floor, you never go home. Story number 2. It was the first time I had ever worked an overnight shift. The office belonged to Crestwood Analytics, a government subcontractor housed in an ugly concrete building downtown. Floors 10 and up were dark. Only floors 3 through 6 were active. I was placed on floor 5, the records division, as temporary security coverage during a system migration. They told me 2 things. Check each floor every hour. Do not sit at desk 119. That second instruction wasn't on paper. Just a whispered warning from the outgoing guard, Carl, who clutched his coffee like it was the only thing keeping him alive. Desk 119, he mumbled. Ignore it if it rings. If the screen turns on, turn away. Don't look into it. If it talks, leave the floor. Immediately, I thought it was a joke. Until my 3rd night on shift. At 2:15 a.m., I walked the 5th floor. Every desk looked the same. Beige tops, dual monitors, standard issue plastic chairs, personalized nameplates now removed. Except desk 119. It sat at the farthest corner, by the emergency stairwell. Dustier than the others. A faded stain ran beneath it like old coffee, or dried blood. I ignored it, logged the patrol, moved on. At 2:32 a.m., I was back in the control room when the 5th floor camera glitched. Just one frame blinked through before the feed resumed. Desk 119's monitor had turned on. It was black, with a blinking green cursor in the top left corner. No input, no commands, just blinking. I rewound the footage. Nothing. No trigger. No motion. No search. The monitor just powered itself up. Then the phone next to it rang. Desk phones were supposed to be offline during the network migration. Still, it rang. No ID. No extension. Just a repetitive, slow ring. Like an old rotary phone. I called my supervisor. No answer. I did what I shouldn't have. I went back to the 5th floor. Everything was dark. I walked toward the corner where desk 119 waited. As I approached, the monitor was still on. Blinking. The phone was silent now. I reached out. I swear to God, before I even touched the chair. It moved an inch on its own, sliding out like it was inviting me to sit. The monitor flashed. White text on black. Welcome back, 119. My name is not 119. The keyboard clicked. By itself. Another line appeared. Why did you leave? We weren't done with you. The room chilled. Not like air conditioning, bone-deep cold like a walk-in morgue. I stepped back. The phone rang again. But it wasn't a ring. It was breathing. Heavy, wet, fast. Then a voice rasped through the speaker. You belong to the ledger now. The screen showed a file list. Employee_0119.log. Surveillance_audio_0119. Incident_report_0119B. Phase_start_pending. I yanked the power cable from the tower. The monitor didn't shut off. It smiled. Not a metaphor, the screen warped. The blinking cursor turned into a small, twitching mouth made of static pixels. Then the entire 5th floor lit up, all monitors, even the unplugged ones. Each one displayed the same image. A dark hallway, ending at desk 119. From the hallway behind me, I heard footsteps. Slow. Barefoot. I turned. Nothing. but the monitors showed someone standing directly behind me. I ran down the stairs, skipped 3 steps at a time. By the time I reached the 2nd floor, all lights above shut off in sequence. Bang, 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 chasing me down with every shutoff. I slammed the stairwell door and radioed dispatch. Silence. No static. No reply. Just silence. In my earpiece, a voice whispered, "Don't run from your desk." I never went back to the 5th floor. But the following night, I was forced to finish my contract. I stayed on floor 2. At 3:11 a.m., a call came to my control room line. Line number 119. I didn't answer. The voicemail was transcribed automatically on screen. It read, "Dear employee, we regret your unwillingness to cooperate. Desk 119 has marked you absent. Termination of body pending. Report to your desk for reclamation." I filed an official report. The next day, my supervisor laughed, said Desk 119 doesn't exist. Their logs only list 118 desks per floor. But when I returned that night to clear my locker, I looked up at the building from the parking lot. Only one window had light on. Top corner of floor 5, desk 119. A silhouette was sitting there, watching me, smiling. I blinked. It was gone. But I keep getting emails now, from addresses like point119@crestwood.net. No message. Just one attachment each time. A black screen. Blinking cursor. Waiting. I don't check them anymore, because the last one came with a caption. "You may leave the office, but the desk never forgets its worker." Story number 3. I was hired as an overnight data technician at a government-contracted firm named Noviscore Solutions, located in a brutalist tower at the edge of the city. 11 stories high, mostly empty now except for a handful of active floors. Floor 6 was mine, home to the long-abandoned archive and analytics department. The job was simple. Log in, monitor the automated system for flagged data corruption, and report it via an internal console. First few nights went by uneventfully. A few system pings, dusty keyboards, and the unsettling stillness of a floor designed for 100 but inhabited by none. Until the 7th night, I noticed the cubicles had changed. I couldn't explain it exactly, just that the layout was different. One cubicle right by the printer room hadn't been there before. It looked older, grayer. The walls slightly warped like water-damaged cardboard. No number plate, no name. On the desk sat an analog tape recorder, the kind with those red buttons from the 80s. And beside it, a yellowed note. Play only when alone. I left it alone. I logged the anomaly and moved on. The system pinged a warning around 2:41 a.m. Unauthorized input detected. Source unknown. I checked the source. It read, Terminal, C42. Status, active. User, null. There was no C42. I had a map of every cubicle and room. The count stopped at C41. I checked anyway, and sure enough, C42 was there, buried in the farthest corner behind a row of filing cabinets. It looked untouched in years. Layers of dust coated the floor, but not the chair. That had recently moved, trails in the dust told me so. The screen blinked to life as I stepped closer. Green text filled the screen, typing by itself. Welcome back. You were missed. Ready to continue the audit? A progress bar loaded beneath it, labeled Soul Retrieval Protocol, 13%. The lights above buzzed and dimmed. I backed away, but the screen beeped. A printer whirred to life 2 cubicles down. I ran to it. An old dot matrix unit was spitting out paper. The page read, No exit while work is incomplete. The fire exits wouldn't budge. I tested every one of them. The stairwell door had no handle from the inside now. I know it had one earlier. When I returned to the console room, the security feed showed me, sitting at C42, typing furiously. But I wasn't there. I was in the console room. I turned back toward the hallway. There was nothing. Then I heard it, typing. Dozens of keyboards. Clacking. Rapid. Desperate. But the floor was empty. Then came the laughter. Quiet. Guttural. Right behind me, I turned to see my own face, reflected in the blackened monitor. Only it wasn't mine. It had no eyes, just black sockets. A wide, broken smile. It whispered through the screen. "You've already started. It's too late to clock out." The system logged me in automatically under user 000. Every file I accessed rewrote itself, deleting real names and replacing them with phrases like reclaimed, assimilated, audit incomplete. I shut down the machine. The lights went out. Total darkness. But in the center of the floor, I saw one cubicle illuminated faintly. The mystery cubicle. The one by the printer room. Inside it, the tape recorder was playing. Click. A distorted voice played. "You are not the first. You are not the last. You are simply the current." The tape stopped. But then the chair turned. Something stood up. Not a person, something wearing skin like a costume, too loose, too dry. Eyes replaced with office pins. It spoke through a split jaw. "I used to work here too. You stay long enough, you become the paperwork." The floor beneath me shifted. Carpet peeled back. Beneath it, not tile, just more paper. Layers of shredded memos and timesheets, pulsing like skin. I ran. No elevators worked. The stairwell led only downward, into a sublevel that didn't exist on any map. I had no choice. I descended into an archival pit, filled with desks chained together, each occupied by corpses wearing name tags like mine. One of them raised its head. It was Carl, a tech from the 2018 employee list. I recognized him. His lips moved without sound. The air whispered around me. One more soul to balance the sheets. I climbed, clawed, screamed, fought my way out. I woke up in the lobby the next morning. Alone. Dust covered. Clothes torn. No one believed what happened. The security footage? Wiped. The login? Not in the system. C42? Never existed. But every few weeks, I still receive an envelope. No return address. Inside, a shift schedule. And a note. "See you at the next audit. User 000. Burning them doesn't help. Because every time I close my eyes, I hear the typing. And it's getting closer. Story number 4. They told me never to take the stairs. At Paramount Data Services, I was hired as an overnight systems monitor. The office was inside a 12-floor steel and glass tower downtown, but the job was strictly based on Floor 7 IT and server diagnostics. My supervisor, an older guy named Lewis with trembling hands, left me with one strange rule on my first night. Use the elevator, never the stairs, especially not between midnight and 3 a.m. I thought it was a weird old superstition. The place looked too clean, too corporate to carry legends. But Lewis stared at me when he said it. Not joking, just tired. My first few nights were fine. A few system alerts. A couple of server pings. The building was dead quiet except for the hum of fluorescent lights and the occasional vibration from the cooling vents. Then came night 5. At 12:16 a.m., the elevator panel started blinking. Random floors flickering in rapid succession. 3, 9, 1, 12, 6, then finally, 7. And then a ding. But the elevator never moved. No doors opened. Just the sound. I chalked it up to faulty wiring. But then the printer in the copy room started on its own. A single sheet. I walked over and picked it up. It was a floor plan. Floor 7. But it was different from the actual layout. This one had a hallway that didn't exist in the real building. A long, narrow corridor marked in red. Temporary Files Hall. And at the very end was an icon shaped like an old filing cabinet, labeled, "Do not access room." I laughed nervously, thinking it was a prank someone had set up for the night shift, until I turned around and saw that same hallway behind the printer room. It hadn't been there before. Not last night. Not 5 minutes ago. The lights flickered. Humming grew louder. I should have left. But curiosity won. I stepped into the corridor. It wasn't just narrow, it was shrinking as I walked. Walls closing in. Ceiling dipping lower. At the end was a single metal door. No handle. On it, scratched deep into the surface, You came too early. Suddenly the floor beneath me vibrated. A pulse, like a heartbeat, and then, slam. The door burst inward on its own. Inside was a room filled wall to wall with abandoned desks, shredded ID badges, and hundreds of blinking monitors. They weren't connected to anything, yet each one showed a live feed of the building, every floor, every hallway, including the one I was standing in. On the screen, I saw myself, but something was behind me, tall, faceless, wearing a tattered lanyard that dragged across the floor. It was reaching. I spun around. Nothing, just that awful cold. That strange pressure behind my eyes, like something crawling through my skull. The monitors all changed at once. Each screen now read, "Welcome back, Employee 0007. Your shift never ended. You shouldn't have left." Left? I never worked here before. I ran back down the hallway, which was now twice as long. Lights popping above me one by one. The door to the printer room slammed shut just as I reached it. Locked. From behind me, footsteps. No shoes. Wet slaps on tile. I turned. At the end of the corridor stood another me. Same uniform. Same face. But eyes gone. Just black sockets and a crooked jaw hanging too low. I smiled. I started pounding the printer room door. It opened. I fell through into the copy room again. But something was wrong. All the calendars read April 2007. The desks were covered in thick dust. Computer towers were off. Even the building hum was silent. I made it to the elevator. The panel had one floor lit. 13. There's no 13th floor in the Paramount building. It was removed in design. Superstition. But the button was glowing. It wouldn't go out. The elevator opened. I didn't get in. I ran to the stairs instead, desperate despite the warning. The stairwell was dark, pitch black, and deep, too deep. Every step I took downward made the staircase stretch further. Every turn showed more graffiti etched into the concrete. "We never left. The system needs bodies. Audit in progress." Eventually, the steps stopped. Just a wall, covered in fingernail scratches, and a single keypad. I turned back. The stairwell was gone. Only a room now. Inside it, dozens of monitors, each one playing back footage of me. Nights ago, sitting at my desk, reading emails I never opened, replying to messages I never sent. The last monitor showed a grainy clip. I was at the printer, looking at a map, same as before, but the recording ended with me turning to the camera and smiling. A deep, grotesque grin. I don't remember smiling. I don't remember looking into any camera. The lights in the room flickered. The sound of typing echoed everywhere. And then, silence. The screen in front of me powered off. When it turned back on, it showed a message. "Access granted. You may continue the night shift." I woke up the next morning in the break room. Cold. Tired. Bleeding from my left ear. Security found no hallway behind the printer. No extra door. No files printed. But I keep getting emails now. From a no-name address. The subject line is always the same. "Clock in, 0007. We're still waiting."